neighbor, look at your neighbor, look at your neighbor. Hey, join. Hey, join. Geukia mwingine, take a look at me, I'm a. Hey, tell them. Wait. Sharpen your destiny. Tell them. Take a look at me, I'm a. Tell them, tell them. Tell them. Everybody shout, oh. When you're at home, when you're watching. Sharpening our destiny. Everybody shout, oh. Kanyaga tu pole pole tu, kanyaga, hey, kanyaga, pole pole, kanyaga.
With the Patak Show.
Hey.
Awesome. Give it up to West Africa, Kenya. All right. And well, please have your seat and welcome to the Patak Show with me, Dominic. It's another week. It's another Wednesday, and today we are talking about shaping your destiny. So welcome once again, and we want to keep this conversation on fire. So go to my Facebook page at I am Kamau Mwangi, Instagram at I am Kamau Mwangi, or Twitter at I am Kamau Mwangi, and talk to me. You can send text messages there. Please send me your questions, your suggestions, your opinions. I would love to hear from you, because today we have none other than the former Chief Justice, Dr. Willy Mutunga, talking to us about shaping your destiny. We've got a great audience. Give it up for yourselves. Yeah, and we've got At Africa today here with us. Give it up to At Africa Kenya. At Africa, mko wapi? All right. So, and I want you to be part of this conversation, as I've mentioned. And please, so send me your questions, your suggestions. And I'm going to give it back to At Africa Kenya before we start our conversation to give us a short break before we come back and continue with this smart conversation about shaping your destiny.
Wengine maotito, polisi, ma CEO, ma MD. Na ikiwa nitakuwa rubani, niendeshe ndege, niwe rubani. Rubani anayeimba, na ikiwa nitakuwa karani, karani wa benki, niwe karani. Karani anayeimba, na ikiwa nitakuwa waziri. Waziri wa serikali, niwe waziri. Waziri anayeimba, popote yoyote nitakuwa. Niwe baba na mama, naomba niache niimbe. Niache niimbe, niache niimbe, niache niimbe. Niache niimbe, niache niimbe, niache niimbe. Niache niimbe, niache niimbe, niache niimbe. Change up, change up. One more. Change up. All right. Change up. One more time. Go. Hey. Hey. Mimi na ahidi kuanza imba nyimbo za Injili. Niache niimbe, niache niimbe. Mimi na ahidi kuanza imba nyimbo za Injili. Oh. Niimbe, niimbe, niimbe.
Thank you. Awesome. At Africa, the amount of energy in this room today, really awesome. Welcome to the show, sir. So, we are having a conversation about shaping your destiny, and as I mentioned, we've got the former CJ himself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, before actually we start this conversation, you know, there's this thing going round of someone, a certain chief, I wanted to say certain chief justice, a certain judge called and accused a woman eater or the issue of a male version of a slay queen. It's been going around. And I saw on Twitter that Dr. Mutahi Ngunyi had asked you to respond to that.
Oh, did he?
I hear that.
Huo ni uchokozi. Yeah, if he wants to know what the judge did, I'm sure the judge is available.
You can contact him.
You can have a conversation with the judge.
You have really avoided that question. I have seen that.
No, he's not avoiding it. It's I think that's the person who should
respond to that question. Yeah.
Because judges are accountable to the public.
Yeah.
So Mutai can have a discussion with Judge James Wakiaga.
James Wakiaga.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's pleasant, so they'll be able to
have a conversation.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
What do you think of Africa Band?
It's the first time
You're hearing them?
Yes, but they have potential.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
they're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we used to see you at the bench. We have seen you as a prominent person, but on one other side, we have not known much about you. So probably you could tell us a bit about yourself. Maybe.
Don't they
home ground?
Don't they teach history anymore? I thought
you're part of history now.
I would have some chapter there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I was born in Kitui 71 years ago.
71.
Yeah.
Hey, give it up to him, man.
Yeah, my father was a tailor. My mother a peasant. Birthplace Kitui County. I went to two primary schools, then Kitui High School for my secondary education. Then I studied at Strathmore when it was A-level school for 2 years. And then I went to Dar es Salaam, did my bachelor's and master's, and then taught in the University of Nairobi for 8 years.
I told you they're students there, so they're very proud.
Yeah, I taught there, and I got into trouble with Baba and Mama, that's Kanu and Moi. And so I lost my job. I was detained for 16 months.
What did you do, if you don't mind telling us?
I was the enemy of the state.
Whoa.
Well, anyway, what I did was I was Secretary General of the staff, University Staff Union, and we were agitating against the subversion of academic freedom, because what happened is that we were not free to teach what we wanted, to read what we wanted, and invariably in our classrooms there were policemen who intimidated us. And so in 1982, just before the coup, the union officials were all arrested, and one jailed, and five of us were detained without trial. So I was in detention for 16 months. I was very lucky.
16 months.
Yeah.
Where did they put you?
Oh, I went to various places: Kamiti, Shimalatewa, Hola, and then Kamiti again. So
just within those 3 months, they moved you into 4 different.
16 months.
16 months, they moved you into 4 different locations.
And I did 2 months at this industrial remand prison, where Obado was.
Well, for simply because there was a lot of censorship, and what you're saying, they would even put police in your classrooms.
Yeah, you see, the history was that by 1982, Parliament had been dismantled. It was no longer a voice of dissent. Maendeleo and Nawake, Kotu, they all became departments of Kano. So the university was the only center for serious dissent. That is from the students and from members of the staff. And the union was for everybody, even secretaries and other workers. So it was fairly powerful dissent, and we were dismantled. Yeah.
So
and in 1982 there was the coup. Then students joined the coup, and some of them ended in prison. I think there was a guy called Tito Andogos who died in prison. I think he was jailed for 10 years or so. And then after that there was Mwakenya, again university students who had worked in various schools were also involved in the resistance. So it was that brutal Moi Kano dictatorship which came to an end in 2002. That was the beginning of its suppression.
After the coup, definitely.
Yeah.
Was it that time that you actually started being an activist? Was it that time that you started becoming more involved in agitation for social justice?
Yeah, it was around that time. You know, because being Secretary General of the Staff Union, and also teaching law and organizing teachers and students, that's what they saw as subversive.
Subversive of
Yeah, and also we also used to give free legal aid to workers in slum areas, just to tell them about housing rights, about labor rights, and that also wasn't. That was also a problem. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, activism, and I guess we'll be talking about activism. Or fighting for your rights. It's about an experience. You know, when something happens to you, it could be a woman who is raped and she says, I'll dedicate my life to fighting
against sexual abuse.
Against sexual abuse. For me, it was teaching in a university, enjoying it and enjoying the job, and then somebody comes and tells me, you don't have academic freedom. You cannot write what you want, you cannot say what you want. And then when I say no, I get jailed for it. So out of prison, I basically said, you know, my life is cut out for this. This is what I'm going to fight for. And that has been my trajectory for since political activism since then.
So when after the 16 months, you were never rearrested again?
There was a time I was, you know, rearrested. But I lost my job. I didn't have my passport. I couldn't go out to work. Luckily, I was an advocate, so I opened an office and defended bank robbers for about 5 years, I think.
Why did you say specifically bank robbers?
Well, because those are the only people who gave me work. Okay? They knew me from prison. So, and the story is, after 5 years, they were all killed. So I went back to school. I went to do my doctorate.
Your doctorate?
Yeah.
So all the bank robbers you defended, a good number were killed?
Yeah, because I used to get them off.
Okay, and the state was not happy with that?
Yeah, so I started seeing their dead bodies in the papers. The usual story that they had guns. But those guys were very sharp. There were about 20 of them, very, very bright guys. And, you know, I liked defending them because in any case, banks are robbers. So
so you're defending one robber from another?
And I'm defending the one who is weak. So
you're defending the weaker robber?
The weaker robber, yes.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
And now we are living in times where our youth, they want the country to provide a lot of services, and they have a very lofty idea of what the nation should be.
Yes.
But then there is a huge valley between what they want the nation to be and how they are getting involved, like you are saying, to get involved, to start fighting for their rights. Why do you think there is this gap between this lofty idea, we need a nation that lives by the law, that addresses our issues, but at the same time you find so many young people willing to get to the streets or to actually be vocal about what they need?
I'll just repeat that question.
In the sense, though, that there seems to be a huge gap between what the young people want for our country to be.
Yes, yeah.
And there seems to be a few who are involved, but a majority seem just to be spectating and wanting someone else to do to fight for them.
But that's the nature of any struggle. Even if you look historically at Mau Mau or other struggles, there always be some people who are leading it or are, vocal. But the others, just because they don't say it, doesn't mean that they don't support. I personally think that the youth of this country are very keen about their material interests. They quality education, health, the right to work, housing, clean water, the right to food, because that's basically the basic needs of everybody. And the reason why a lot of young people are not involved, in my view, is because we have politics in this country organized around divisions. Okay, so we follow our barons. Okay, even if they take you to, to a big hall, we follow them. We all have barons. I'm sure even these guys, if you ask them, there are 5 communities, the big 5, not the animals, but the Kikuyus, the Kalenjins, Kambas, Luos, and Luyas. And the politics of division is around those people. Even the alliances, when you look at every alliance, all the politics is around, these barons. And we follow them. We follow them, and for some reason, well, the reason is that they are also very intelligent people. They are geniuses in dividing people, and so you get millions following the Mudamaki, millions following the Agwambo, who is supposed to be a spirit, and he's very, very clever. Have you ever seen Raila go to a funeral? The first thing he does is go to the coffin and talk to the deceased, either lifting his fly whisk or basically his hand. And so they have stories around them, Even us, the Kambas, I've heard stories being told about Kalonzo Musyoka, that, he comes from Sekuru, which is near Tana River. So the Kambas say, he's so powerful, when he goes to swim in the river, the crocodiles just flee, and make way for him. So because you're dealing with people who know how to mobilize people, and how to mobilize people on the basis of division. They then are supported by religious leaders who are also ethnic and so forth. So you can't underestimate them. And I think that's why I'm saying is a reason for young people sometimes, being caught up between the ethnic narrative, and the material interest narrative. But poverty cuts across all communities.
Absolutely.
And unemployment, and everything else. So my hope is, we soon see young people basically saying, we demand food, we
demand better.
Better, our education is not the kind of quality, we need. Because obviously the quality of education in private universities is not the same as
what is in the public.
It's not. And public universities used to be the best. When I taught law in the university, we had materials, the students studied for free, that's what should be, because
the students studied for free.
Before they started getting what they call boom, and then from boom it was loans. But even when I studied,
it was free.
The government paid my tuition and gave me a stipend.
That was, you didn't have to pay back later?
No, you didn't. That
Wow.
that was after the 80s, when the World Bank and IMF
We're helping out,
basically said that university students should pay,
yeah.
and it's the primary students who shouldn't pay. So
Okay.
I still think that education is a public good, and it should be free, because clever people come from rich families and also poor families. Now what we are seeing is a situation where if you are born in a poor household, however clever you might be, you might not get a degree. You might just stay in poverty. I think like me, I don't think my father would have paid.
Been able to take you to school.
No.
Yeah,
It wasn't possible.
What you'll do now, before now we come back and may talk to you as your role as a judge, we'll take a short break.
Yeah.
We'll take a short break, and I'm inviting you all to send me your questions on your suggestions and opinion concerning our topic of today. Any questions that you want to ask the former Chief Justice. Now we're going to go to South Africa, Kenya. We're going to give us a short break, and then when we come back, we'll speak about to Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, and also take a few questions before we continue. All right, so South Africa, let's go.
All right. So we are saying, as we shape our destiny, we are going to fear no evil. So we go like this, yeah? As I walk through the valley and the shadows of death, I fear no evil. I fear no evil. As I walk through the valley and the shadows of death, I fear no evil. I fear no evil. Yes, as I'm shaping my destiny, I'm saying, as I walk through the valley and the shadow of death, I fear no evil. I fear no evil. Because what if Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? One more time, if Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night?
South Africa, Kenya. Awesome. And welcome back to the show. We have our guest here, the former CJ, Dr. Willy Mutunga. We are conversing on the issue of shaping your destiny. We are listening to his story, and now he was able to shape his destiny. And now we want to continue this conversation. And as I mentioned to you earlier, please text. You can be able to go to my Facebook page at I am Kamau Mwangi, or Twitter at I am Kamau Mwangi, or Instagram at I am Kamau Mwangi, and talk to me, ask all the suggestions, or make an opinion concerning the conversation we are having today. Please, we all right. Welcome. All right, welcome back.
Yeah. All right.
Now, so
Yeah.
being first of all, being elected to the Supreme Court, did it come as a surprise?
Yeah, I didn't think I had a chance. So, but you know, God works in mysterious ways.
Sure.
My opposition turned to be not an opposition at all.
So because you're not a career judge before that.
No, I wasn't a career judge, but I was familiar with the judicial system. Once you practice law, you are actually familiar with it. But I didn't. I wasn't a career judge. No.
So did you feel that as an advantage or disadvantage when you went in as a Chief Justice? Did you feel like you're free from the system somehow to be able to look at it objectively, or did you see?
I knew I was insider, outsider. I wasn't a career judge, but I knew a lot about the judiciary because I practiced there since the 70s. I wrote about the judiciary and so forth. So I was familiar with that. but coming from the outside was a disadvantage, because you wouldn't say you're hands-on on everything. So but luckily the judiciary had done a lot of work itself in terms of self-criticism, self-assessment, and there was a report that was compiled by Judge Willy M Mutunga, who is now the president of the Court of Appeal, which was very, very, very comprehensive in what ought to be done. So I built my work on that, and that was also an advantage in the sense that I knew what the institution actually required
to do,
through the reports of
Willy M Mutunga.
Yeah.
And what is the one thing that you did for the Supreme Court? Some of the changes that you initiated, or even from that report that you feel this is your biggest contribution looking back?
Oh, that's a difficult question. It's like when people ask others about legacy, what is your legacy? It's a difficult question to answer without feeling that you're being
you're serving your ego.
Self-complimentary. So I rather prefer someone else to basically critique or glorify something that they think happened during that period that was okay, but leave the rest to historians. True. Because in Kenya, if you ask somebody to assess your legacy, we have so many biases. That's my problem.
Yeah. So
you won't get an objective, assessment. And so I think the best thing is just to leave it to the people, and just take notes of what the people say. The rude things, the good things, and then you can reflect on them afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah.
But being a judge is quite a difficult thing, I would say, because you have to make some very difficult decisions. Like, you are part of a team, but how was it like for you, if I may ask this question, to deliver the 2013 judgment? Was it do you feel a bit of emotion every time you remember this time that you had to deliver this historical judgment?
Yeah, there were 6 of us, and as you know, that decision has to be delivered within 14 days.
Yeah.
I think the 6 of us were conscious of the fact that it was an election dispute that brought Kenya to almost a civil war, 2008. And I think all of us were afraid that we wouldn't finish on time, but we did. But the most difficult period was after we delivered the decision, because we said, it was a short decision, and we said we'll give the reasons later, and waited. And I can tell you, we only slept soundly when Raila said, I accept this decision and I don't agree with it. It was a moment of great statesmanship
on his
part, to basically, concede in favor of the country. So we went to sleep soundly, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that you said you are 71 years, and what do you do now?
See, I'm building the office of the former Chief Justice.
Okay.
Parliament decreed that there should be such an office, but they didn't say exactly what it will do. But it's part of my retirement package, and I'm building it as a public office. So we have started discussions with the CJ, JSC, the lawyers, the Office of the Attorney General, ODPP, the usual stakeholders, and then we'll discuss the people to see what it means. But so far we don't have money, so we'll wait and see.
But they might give you some money?
Well, yeah. To build those offices, I mean, Kibaki has won, Moi has won, Raila has won, I think Mudi Awori has won, Marende has won. So they are offices for the heads of the three arms.
Yeah, so they, definitely.
So even I think Raila's office is somewhere in Capitol Hill. That's part of his...
As a former Prime Minister?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes. And the Kalonzo also, I think...
As a former VP?
Former VP.
Okay.
Yeah. There was that problem they had about their pension when I think President Uhuru told them that they haven't quit politics. So I hope that has been sorted out and they have gotten their pensions and retirement. It's very difficult to get your retirement benefits in this country. Yeah.
Now, before we give the audience to ask you a question, yes or no, was the handshake a good thing or no?
It's not a yes or no question. You know, I personally said publicly that it's a good thing in the sense that Raila has vacated the space as leader of the opposition. You know, after so many handshakes that involved him, that place is vacant. So it's up to you young guys to occupy it and create authentic opposition. And if you don't occupy it, he's a very, very smart guy. You don't know when he will come back to it.
After he's being, he might come back and still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna.
Somebody else might
take that
just from the barons. Somebody else might take it. Yeah.
Barons. Okay. So I want to give the questions to a few members. Anyone with a question? Yeah. So one from Arnold. So any lady with a question? No. Okay. So I'm gonna give you. Who has the mic? You have the mic. Please go ahead.
Okay,
so just say your name and what you're doing at the UN, and then ask the question briefly. Yeah? Okay.
My name is Kweyu Isaac, alias Kweyu Isaac.
Isaac.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
I'm a third-year student in the University of Nairobi, Bachelor of Arts, Criminology and Criminal Justice. I just have a simple question. What is the fate of student activism?
What?
What is the fate of student activism currently?
Okay. You want me to answer that straight away?
You can take also the second question. Please pass the mic to Arnold. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Arnold. So I have a question.
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question. Owing to the large number of cases that are in the Kenyan courts, and they're taking many years to be solved. Where do you place the future of the Kenyan judiciary in the next, or by Vision 2030?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please give it up for yourselves. That's a brilliant question. You're in the University of Nairobi for a very good reason. Sir.
Yeah. So Arnold,
do you want me to add some questions from home? From viewers?
Those who are at home, let them stay home and listen. Well, you can add, so just one.
Yeah, I will add. So there is Jenga from Majengo who is asking, is the judiciary helping in alleviating corruption? And is the affordable or free education helping bridge the status quo? Is
the what? Okay.
Yeah, the free education. Is it helping to bridge the gap between the status quo? So
free primary education.
Yes, I guess that's what he means.
Okay.
All right. So those are the questions that you can take, please.
Okay, I'll start with Arnold because he's asking about what in the judiciary we call the backlog. When I joined the judiciary, there were 3 cases that had been there for over 35 years. That's the case of J.M. Kariuki, Koinange, and another guy called Kubai, Freddy Kubai. And those cases have been decided. But I can tell you that a lot of the delays are not because of the judges, okay? Sometimes it's the parties themselves and the lawyers, right, that keep the cases in court. Like those cases I've mentioned, why would the family not sort them out? All the cases of rich people when they die, and they seem to die without writing a will, and they seem to die with having many wives, which some they don't disclose. So the issue becomes fairly difficult when people are fighting over property they have never even worked for. So you have seen that with Kirima. The other day they were talking about Judge Kasanga Mulwa in the case. But if the families could sort out the cases, that will be something that will reduce the backlog. And now the judiciary is sending those family cases for mediation, arbitration. Yeah, arbitration, which is you know, is a good thing. But in this country, people tend to blame the judiciary for everything. So this is why I was saying, if the citizens do their part, the lawyers do their part, and the judges do their part, right? We could finalize these cases. And don't forget also that in a population, in a country which has a population of 45 million people, how many judges do we have? Around 170 now, I think.
170.
Yeah. So, wow. You know, there are not many. So you need also a situation where Parliament gives the judiciary money to hire more people. But you know what has happened. Parliament has, you know, reduced the monies and so forth. So, and the judges are normally people who don't talk in public. But it's the public that should be you know, supporting that. There are quite a number of courts now that have stored in Meru, in Siaya and other places. And the people are keeping quiet. And those courts are for them. So they should be telling their MPs, these courts have to be built, there's backlog and whatnot. But by 2030, God willing, you know, they will be few, but there always will be a backlog, because as we talk now, today some cases were filed. Okay, so when you talk about backlog, we want a situation where we say backlog is about cases that are, you know, probably, you know, under 2 years, because the others have been disposed of. Isaac, what is the fate of students' activism? The status of it from where I sit is that activism is in CIU. What is that called?
ICU.
ICU.
It's that bad.
No, but that's a joke. I mean, it's not true. I think if you are talking about the activism of the university students in Nairobi, I've watched with the dismay at the way elections are conducted and the way politics going on in the universities, like just our national elections. You know, people win, have money, and they give you stuff. You know, they bribe you, and that's every public university, which for me is very, 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 very disturbing, because you should choose people not because they have money, but because of what they will do, you know, do for you. But students, like the rest of the youth, I basically think are fundamentally activists, you know, because you have a lot of problems. So whether you want it or not, you're going to be active about school fees, about having paid your school fees and you have a loan. You want to make sure that the food you are given is of high quality. And there's corruption in those universities, you know that, right? So there are all those issues that are raised by students and the youth, which I basically think that it's a very encouraging thing. And then, of course, students and young people are involved, whether they're involved in wrong causes, but they're always at the the center of action. You know, whether it's the swearing in of Baba on the 31st of January, they are there. You know, whether it's following whoever it is to present their papers and whatnot,
They are there.
they are there. Because as you say, you know, you are the majority, all right?
Yeah.
But activism, when people ask whether, you know, somebody is an activist, I think everybody in this country and in the world is an activist. You have a cause, you know, and you're active in it, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So is that cause that distinguishes people, because there are people who are activists for the status quo, the others who are activists for change.
Yeah.
Okay, but everybody is basically doing
this. Something is is pursuing something. Yeah.
It's pursuing something, and the students are like that because there are a lot of issues that they are facing.
Yeah.
And they basically, you know, want change, but you know, on the way
they may get
they get sidetracked by ethnicity, by religion, by, you know, I'm sure some of them go to the crusades of the prophet
to get some wisdom,
the debate of war. So
I think we'll have to leave out the last two questions because of time.
Okay.
But what I'll ask you to do is probably to I'll give maybe a minute or so, probably if you want to pass on a message or say something that I didn't ask you, maybe to these young people here in the audience.
Basically, in a nutshell, the gist of my answers and, you know, and also, you know, my profile is basically to say, if we are going to change this country, and this country is going to be changed by you, it's young people now who the fate of this country is on your shoulders. You've got to avoid these divisions, right? And focus on your material interests. A lot of you are marrying outside your community, which is a great thing, outside your religion, outside your region, which I think is a great thing. So you need to build this nation, because we don't have a nation yet, all right? We need to get completely rid of these divisions. And then you focus on your interests. Focus on your interests. You should be thinking of an Article 43 movement, where you fight for your right to quality education, for example. And that is how this country is going to be changed. And if you don't change it, come 30 years or 50 years, you will not have a country to talk about. Because with the rising national debt from the east and west, some day you might wake up and somebody says, well, this is not your country, you have 36 hours to leave. Because it's, and then you realize you have to fight for your country against these foreign interests, right? So you had better prepare, you know, because I see by 2050 there might be another Mau Mau, where you're basically this time fighting not only the British, Europeans and the Americans, but the Chinese as well.
So please give it up to the former Chief Justice Willy M Mutunga, who was our guest today. Thank you so much for accepting to come to the show. Thank you for honoring our invitation. And we also take also this time to say thank you for your service to our country for all those years. And Pole Sana for those 16 months that you suffered for our country. And we pray also that we have the guts like you to be able to go to the trenches for like you for what to fight for what you believe in. And always feel welcome anytime to this show if you want to come and share with us at any one time. So thank you also to you all who are watching from home. Pole Sana, we cannot read all your questions that you sent in because of the time we had. Our show has come to an end, and I want to again thank you for being part of this show. And I hope that you've been able to learn a thing or two from Dr. Willy Mutunga. Keep those questions and suggestions coming. You can go, as I said, to my Facebook page at I am Kamau Mwangi. You can go to my Instagram page at I am Kamau Mwangi, also on Twitter at I am Kamau Mwangi. Also go to Facebook for Y254. It's also Y254 at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook also, and you can be able to follow us and talk to us and keep the conversation going. Thank you once again for being part of this. I wish you the very best. God bless you, and be mad, be exceptional, make a difference. At Africa, let's go.
So we can stand up. I know, probably know this song, because we are shaping our destiny. We believe that our God is not blind, all right? So you sing, Mungu Baba yeye hafungi macho, habadiliki jana leo na kesho, azijua raha na shida zako. One more time, let's sing. Mungu Baba yeye hafungi macho, habadiliki jana leo na kesho, azijua raha na shida zako. And then you go like this, Don't him. 2 fingers in the sky, kunja ngumi to the side, see ngumu to the side, tuzikonde tuki. One more night, 2 fingers, let's go. 2 fingers in the sky, kunja ngumi to the side, see ngumu to the side, tuzikonde tuki. For the zenye to live. 2 fingers in the sky, kunja ngumi. One more time, let's go. 2 fingers in the sky, kunja ngumi to the side, tuzikonde tuki. Boogie. I kabit kaki come through. No one should stop you. So move if you want to. Kabit kaki come through. Kabit kaki come through. No one should stop you. So move if you want to. Alright, then you go like this, Dumbolo, let's go. Achi dumbolo, Solomon, dumbolo. Just like this. Dumbolo, hey. Una dumbolo. One more time. Chini. Dumbolo. This side. Dumbolo, hey. Meshika, turn. Dumbolo. Achi. This side. One more time, go there. Maraya, mwisho tuende. Hey, then you go there. Dumbolo, hey. Then you got it. Shoot Satan, pan. Shoot Satan, pan. Hey, shoot Satan. Ati devil have it dead. One more time, shoot Satan. Hey, shoot Satan. Cock your gun, shoot Satan. Hey, devil have it dead. I turn Mungu Baba. Habari. Say as the Jua.